our clients and building companies to be sales team ready so that your company can be designed to make money. And what we really see here so often, I'm just going to jump in this really quick, is you have to be able to design the experience you want people to have. You have to put time and intentionality to scripting an experience that people move through. It's your responsibility to make sure that when people show up, they know exactly what to do. How many times have you had people show up into your world and they're not sure what to do next? They're not sure. You're giving them too many choices and options. Do they book a call? Do they download the opportunity? Do they register for your event? Right? What are the things that you have them going on instead of moving them predictably into something simple and being mindful of how they engage at every touch point? Okay, so there's something that we work on that we call a control journey. That's part of our three-step sales advantage. That's part of the two-step sales process. That's another conversation. Part of a scripted journey. We never focus on people in a isolated moment. Nobody lives and operates inside of a vacuum. Everything somebody's doing came after something that they did and before something they're going to do. And if you know that's going to be the case, then why not design that journey from the beginning? All right. So give me a thumbs up, a like, a share, a love. Make sure that wherever you are chiming in from, that you let us know. And let me know if you're listening live or on the recording. At any point in time, if you have questions, comments, drop them in the chat or reach out on DM on whatever platform that you are in and let us know what that question is. Right? That's how we get a lot of our content. That's how we create a lot of our tools. And I have something I'm going to share with you. We created, and if you want it, I'm going to have you just reach out and just ask for scripted journey, and we'll share it with you. But I'm going to walk you through a real quick concept of what this is. You want to think about what happens when how many times has somebody jumped into your world and then they disappeared? They said yes to your solution. They said, yeah, I want in. I want to do what you're talking about. I want your offer. I want your solution. And then they never open an email. They never register. They never show up for the training, or they miss it, or they don't do the work. They're not taking action and advantage of all of the great things you've put in front of them. And we start assuming that they're not committed, not interested, or don't know what's going on. And the reality is, more often than not, they didn't know what to do next. It wasn't as clear as you would have liked. And then there's this little thing called buyer's remorse. Type remorse in the chat, right? Remorse. You don't want that, right? This is what happens when somebody says, I'm super excited. I love what you have and I want to do it. And then what happens after that? When they go, oh man, the highest point they're ever going to be is when they say yes. That's the most exciting until they get the result that they wanted. The two high points when they say yes, because now they believe I've got a solution. I have found it. And then the other time when they're super high is when they got the result. Everything in between is just doing the work. And that part sucks. Nobody wants to do the work. So your job is to ensure that the high stays as high as possible. And so start thinking through everything that happens from the moment they come into your world. Right, I've heard, a colleague of ours years ago, Marisa Murgatroyd, used to talk about what happens in the first second, what happens in the first minute they're in your world, and that there's a lot to be considered in that. What happens the moment they click on the button? Do they get a wow? Do they get a emphatic outcome? Do they get a prize? Do they get a connection? Do they get an email? Do they get a next step? It doesn't matter what the outcome is. It matters that you've thought it through intentionally, so that you can create that. Okay, and so I want to share with you here real quick one quick a resource that we have put together. I'll just walk you through it. And if you want access to it, please just ask for it, and I will share it with you. And that is, yes, there it is. I got too many windows open. Okay, so this here is the form that we're talking about. This is the objective, and I don't know why I can't pop in any other screen. That's okay. Oh, there it is. Layout. Bingo. Okay, here I am. So this is the objective. I'm just going to walk you through this really fast because I got to wrap up and I got somewhere else to be, and I know your time's valuable as well. So this is a form. If you want access to it, just ping me in the chat or hit me up directly in the DMs and just say scripted journey, and we will send this to you. And the whole goal here is you want to be able to, let me see, I make this bigger. You want to make sure that you're thinking this stuff through, okay? The goal here is that you want to know what you want people to feel. What do you want them to believe, right? What I used to say all the time is, what do you want them to think, feel, or do differently in that moment? Not outcome, not after they've got the outcome 3, 6, 9 months down the road. What do you want them to think, feel, or do differently in that moment? Okay, how do you want them to believe? And then how will you make that happen? The good part is there are no rules to this. They're your rules, right? Your circus, your monkeys. You figure it out. You get to decide, what does that experience look like and how do you want to deliver it? Is it going to be delivered with a text message? Is it going to be delivered something through email? Are they going to get a shipment, a package? Are they going to get a phone call? Are they going to get something specific that shows up at their home on their doorstep, or whatever it is? What's the thing that's going to happen the moment that this occurs? Okay, when they say yes, you want to think that through. Do they get a celebration in your store? I mean, you decide. There's no rules to this, right? Then the next piece is, what happens in the first hour? That's the first minute, right? Then what happens in the first hour? And I want to encourage you. Yes, technology is amazing, and we're all down with technology. We've got as much as possible. We're building AI tools and machines every day. However, this is somebody's first experience of you, and you want to make sure that you can give it the most powerful, authentic side of you. You want them to feel that you've touched them. You want them to feel your brand, your solution, right? Your magic in this process. So think human first and then back into automation where you can, so you can be efficient, but never at the expense of of that initial touch point and the quality. Remember this, all of your connections and touch points and relationships are front loaded. How you treat somebody the first few times you engage with them is what is going to cement you. If you have a super awesome, high-powered experience with somebody the first 3, 4 times you touch them, the first 7 days, the first 30 days, you have a runway and grace period over time. Just like you did with your spouse or whoever you're with now, right? When you first met them, you were a better version of you than you've likely settled into. And that's what it took for them to win. Now, to expect you to be that over the lifetime is almost impossible. But they give you the grace period because they understand that you created an experience for them based on who they are, right? Type that in the chat. Say, for them, for them. This is always about them. You have to be thinking about that. Okay. And then when you do, you're elevating them. They're like, man, this is so good. This is such affirmation. I'm so glad I made this decision. You're reaffirming the decision they made to come down your way in the first place, to make the decision, to open up their wallet, to trust their time, effort, energy, and resources with you. You want them to feel so confident in that. So this is what this whole process is about. And the opposite is true too. You may have the greatest solution, but your first experience was a little sketchy. That first minute sucked. That first hour was unsure. That first week was full of a lack of communication or things not working. All of a sudden, they're starting to second guess. They're wondering, why did I do this? Was this a good idea at all? What's happening? Right? So you want to make sure that first minute, that first hour, that first 7 days, what is that going to look like in the first week? Right? What do you need them to know, believe, feel, do differently? Okay. What happens in the wow window, that first 7 days? What can you do to get inside of them, get them a great magical result in that first opportunity? Not the result, but a result. And celebrate that result and make it clear. Tell them specifically what you are going to do. Ensure that you do it, and then show them that you've done it so that they can see, like, this was amazing. I'm so glad I did this. You cannot leave this stuff to chance. Okay. And then what's your weekly touch point and cadence? Right? What are you going to teach? What are you going to build? How are you going to celebrate their wins? How will you connect? You have certificates. We use GTE bucks and completion certificates, and we try to gamify everything that we possibly can. And I feel like we're never doing enough. And then there is a such thing as too much. So be careful of that. We can talk about that in another session. All right. So think about this: first minute, first hour, first 7 days, first 30 days. If you can script 30, 60, 90 days, you're going to win, because you will have the greater likelihood of keeping them moving, keeping them in action, keeping them excited, keeping them grateful that they are here, and moving them towards results. That's usually the issue. I haven't come across too many experts who aren't good at delivering the solution, as long as the client can engage, do the work, do their part. You go. That's where most people fail. We don't show up and create the environment and the circumstances that ensure they do their part and they do everything necessary to win and deliver the outcome. So this is a secret weapon that we dive into and make this happen. This is part of designing a company to make revenue. This is part of the sales first, everything else second perspective. This is what we do. And I just want to give you an opportunity to jump in. So if you want to check this out, we do have a training coming up on sales first, everything else second. I would love to invite you to this. Check it out here. The dates and times and access is on the link on the page here. And I just want to encourage you, if you are spending too much time trying to get stuff off your to-do list and not enough time generating revenue, whether it's you, your team, leading a team, trying to figure out you have barriers in the way of you spending your time being laser focused on revenue generation, then you should be at this event and make sure that you're there to be able to tap in to what we can do and help you start focusing on sales first and everything else second. Because without sales first, nothing else should be in the way. You have to be generating revenue, profit, so that you can then pay your bills. You can then fund the other things that you really want to do besides chasing sales, like building your websites, writing your book, doing all of those other things. But that has to come after you getting laser focused and very serious about generating sales, making money, making it consistent and predictable so that you can win and then take care of everybody else around you. So let me know what you're thinking about that. Thanks for the time. Thanks for allowing me to be part of your success team, and get after it. Look forward to seeing you at the training, and let me know if you want access to the scripted journey so that you can start delivering wow on purpose and changing the game for the people that have taken the decision to be in your world. All right. We'll see you on the next one.